Are you or someone you know looking to buy or sell a home? When you use a HomeGain Realtor to buy or sell a home, you can get $150. Visit HomeGain.com and click on the Promo 150 banner at the top of the page to get started. Compare HomeGain Realtors and choose your favorite. Complete your home purchase or sale transaction with a HomeGain Realtor, and HomeGain will pay you $150. Get started today by going to HomeGain.com.
Welcome back, everyone, to Real Estate 360 Live. I'm your host, Ryan Sloper, joined today by my guest, Louis Cammarosano, the general manager of HomeGain. Quick reminder, the show is designed and dedicated to building the Washington, D.C. Metro's housing and credit markets one house at a time by giving you guys good free advice. If you ever have any questions, concerns, or real estate needs, the best number to reach out to us is 877-245-2030. That's 877-245-2030. Remember, that's an off-air phone number, so please leave your name and contact information, and we'll get back to you. Again, that's 877-245-2030, or reach out via the web at realestate360live.com. That's realestate360live.com. On the right-hand side, there's an Ask a Question button. Just click on that, fill in the information, your name, contact information, and your question, and we will get back to you as soon as possible. Coming up in about 20 minutes, we're going to jump into a bunch of questions that listeners have actually entered in on the website. So we'll hit those in about 20 minutes from now. I want to wrap up one last thing on the actual Fed meeting from last week. There's been a bunch of people interviewed about what they, from companies asking what they thought that it meant for business, the economy. One person, Michael DeWalt, who's the director of investor relations for Caterpillar, said on the January 28th conference call with analysts that the Fed's interest rate policies and their plan to continue injecting liquidity are, in our view, positive for 2013 growth. Well, for obviously Caterpillar, is construction, right? So it's going to definitely, low interest rate policies are going to help move the actual real estate market, especially new homes. We're seeing at a very rapid pace in the D.C. metro area that new home sales are, they're basically flying off the shelves at this point. With such a low inventory of resales that people are turning to, to new homes and paying, obviously, that higher price tag that comes along with new homes, because really there's just not much else out there. I'm curious, Louis, what are you seeing out there in California? Are new home sales moving as fast as it is here on the East Coast?
Well, not so much in San Francisco itself in the Bay Area,
right,
because there aren't that many new home construction projects, but the ones that are, they are going. Because San Francisco and California have very stringent land use, so getting up those new projects doesn't happen as quickly perhaps as it does back east.
Yeah, and I'm getting questions, and especially, clients of mine, they're getting very frustrated because they're writing, 2 and 3 and 4 and 5, 6 contracts on places, and, there's so much competition that they're missing out on home after home after home. So, the options that probably I'd say 30-40% of them are turning to new homes. They've just kind of said, you know what, I'm tired of being in the rat race, and I feel like if I go into a new home, I'm going to pay a little bit more, but at least I know I can secure that contract for a new home to be built for me. And it is a great alternative while interest rates are low. Now, what I caution people is that when you go in to these new home sales, you have to always remember that, you'll see listed all the time base price $300,000. By the time you get in there and you go through and you realize, to have your house look like the model home that you walk through,
right,
you're going to pay $400,000.
Customized, yep.
Yeah, I mean, and it's so hard because it's such an emotional transaction that you get in there in that sales office with the salesperson, and she's basically upselling you on everything because they want to maximize the amount of money that they're going to make. It's hard for people to say no to things. Remember that you have to stay within your budget. Don't stretch. Don't stretch yourself just because you looked at the model home and you have to have everything in there. So one thing I tell people to really pay attention to is just kind of set your budget, and once you set that budget, go in there and take the options and stuff that will allow you to stay within your budget. I would say that a big part of the housing bust that we had was due to the new home sales. People basically, taking option after option after option. So that $500,000 house turned into a $700,000 house, which they couldn't really afford.
That was the year of the McMansion.
Right. They could barely afford it at $500. Do you think they could afford it at $700?
No, it's going to go up. So they
right.
buy as much house as you can and make it as nice as you can. Create your own palace out of borrowed money.
Yeah, and it's interesting now because a lot of the builders, what they've done is they've actually realized that people don't want as much of a home anymore, and people are more willing to live within their means, so they're able to get still more money out of people but not have to build as big of a house. So the builders are still making a ton of money. If you've been following a lot of the builder stocks, they've been rising. And what's interesting is that there was a couple articles that I read last week that big money is betting big on housing right now. And I went through and kind of looked. Hedge funds and private equity firms are some of the main focus of buying up as much housing assets as possible, not just buying up, houses to buy and rent, but also buying undeveloped land. They're buying that. John Paulson, I believe, who is known as one of the hedge fund guys that bet big against subprime mortgages in 2006 and 2007, he's buying up pretty much all the land that he can get his hands on right now. And I believe it was right now over the past 2 years, he had bought up enough land in California, Arizona, and Nevada to build about 25,000 homes. So typically, big money doesn't guess wrong on these things. And I would venture to say that with the accommodative policy that the Fed has set forth, that they know that interest rates are going to stay low for an extended period of time, barring some sort of meltdown on Capitol Hill, which is not out of the realm of possibilities, that they're going to be able to continue to build new homes and sell them, and prices are going to continue to rise. And obviously, Paulson was buying strategically in California, Arizona, Nevada, that are areas that were probably hardest hit by the bust that we had. But it's not just Paulson, Blackstone Group, Pine River Capital Management, and tons. I mean, I can name 15 other private investment firms are looking to buy billions, hundreds of billions of dollars worth of homes. So what this means for the the listener out there right now that wants to buy their first home, you have increased competition.
Exactly.
You have increased competition because now we have, Wall Street has now realized we can't get the returns that we want necessarily in the stock market. We're going to go after real estate. So now there's all these probably close to trillions of dollars that are sitting on the sidelines that are now going to start entering into the real estate market that we wouldn't ordinarily see. The everyday average Joe investor, the mom and pop that's trying to help their son buy their first home. I mean, you're going to have so many situations now where first-time home buyers are going to miss out, or it could be completely priced out of the market altogether.
And if you're a renter, you have to take very good notice of this because most of these investors are purchasing the homes in order to rent, which means they're taking the stock out of the homes to buy, and of course they're going to want a return on their investment, and they're going to be raising rental rates.
Absolutely. I mean, I would say we're going to start to see some pretty substantial rent increases across the country, especially with them buying up homes in these bulk orders that they're doing now. I mean, it's really unprecedented what's taking place right now. And, in the D.C. metro area, Northern Virginia specifically, there's just not that many homes on the market. And, you're going to have to – I don't want to have to tell people that they're going to have to settle. Right, but sometimes you're going to have to look at the home and say, you know what, I'm willing to put a little bit of sweat equity into it because a lot of the homes that are ready to go are just they're getting bought up as soon as it comes on. I mean, we're seeing maybe a day or two on the market and they're sold, if that. So, it's very frustrating for people that, if this is your first time that you're buying a home or even if you're looking to make your move-up purchase and realizing that the competition is fierce. What can you do to try to better position yourself? One of the things I would do is to be able to save up a larger down payment so that you could potentially write a conventional contract, maybe putting 20% down versus doing an FHA, or this is one of the biggest things I tell people. When negotiating right now, a lot of first-time home buyers, they have enough for a down payment, but not necessarily enough to cover the closing costs. So closing costs can obviously vary across the country depending upon where you're located, but typically buyers, first-time home buyers, are asking the seller to pay for their closing costs. Well, now in Northern Virginia we have such high demand for housing and not enough inventory. One of the things that's negotiated the most is seller closing costs. So if you're able to save up more money so that you can pay for your own closing costs and you can make a full price offer to the seller, you're increasing your chances of getting that home, right? Because I would say probably if there's 3 contracts that come in, if they're government financing, meaning that it's a 3.5% down payment for that loan. Let's just say, I'm just making up these numbers, but let's say there's 3% closing costs. I would say 2 out of those 3 contracts are going to be asking for probably $5,000 to 3% closing costs paid by the seller. So if you're the one person that has the extra money that you can pay for your own closing costs, you're going to increase your chances of securing that contract. That's one of the things that I tell my clients to do, just because I try to look and see, okay, well, what is everybody else doing out there? Well, it's pretty standard that people are asking for closing cost assistance. So if you're the one person that doesn't need that, you're going to have a much higher rate of success going in, contractually speaking. Now, I get the question all the time. It's like, well, Ryan, I've been looking now for 2 to 3 months. I'm getting completely frustrated. Should I just consider renting? I would say no. I mean, what it is that you probably just need to make sure that you're working with an agent that's on top of things 24/7. Would you agree, Lewis?
For what reason? They're unable to purchase. They can't get their credit. What's the issue?
Well, I would no. The biggest frustration, Lewis, is just that they've written 3 and 4 and 5 contracts and they haven't been able to get anything to go through.
Okay, so they're actually in the game, but they can't close.
Yeah, I mean, just imagine, like, you go through the process, like you get pre-qualified and you're pre-approved for a loan, your credit's squared away, you got your down payment, and now that you've been looking for 3 to 4 to 5 to 6 months and written 4 or 5 contracts, you can't get anything to go through. You start to get, completely frustrated with the process. And I mean, you're
getting outbid in most cases.
You're getting outbid, and so what tends to happen is people start to up their offers. They realize, okay, well, the list price is $250. I missed out on the last 5 properties. Now let's bid this one up. Instead of $250, let's go to $260, right? But that's what everybody's doing. Everybody is frustrated for the same reasons, and everybody's upping their offer. So who are the ones that typically win? It's the one with the least amount of contingencies and or cash offers.
Right.
We're coming up on a break, guys. When we come back, we're going to give you the top 3 reasons why you should consider selling your home today. Stay right there.